everybody, it's Amy and Maggie, and
Hello.
we are in Tokyo, Japan, and we have just been to Tokyo Game Market again,
Yes.
which is exciting, and we went both Saturday and Sunday. If you're thinking about going, we'll tell you a little bit about this time, because it was actually the biggest ever convention, so they had the most attendees, and we got to line up. We had a friend. Thank you
so much. Yes.
Help us get 11 a.m. tickets so
Yes.
we could line up with the crowd.
Yep.
And the good thing to know is if you are lining up, you know, you don't have to get there super early because the doors kind of open and everyone dissipates really quickly.
Yeah, people really scatter. Like there's that initial rush, and it's just after the first minute and a half, everyone's kind of gone to the first booth that they wanted to.
Exactly.
And then you can kind of walk around. Yeah.
And so many of the games are available for reservation. So if you do your research early and you get your reservations in, you don't really have to panic buy anywhere. I think actually by 11:15 we had picked up all the games that we hadn't been able to reserve. So, you know, it was pretty stress-free. After that, it's just about going around picking up your reservations and then finally being able to kind of browse. But that's why we go on Sunday as well. We love going on Sunday. There are far fewer board games. It's more like RPGs.
Yeah, it's more of an RPG day, but and there are still some of the board game. The bigger publishers are still there, so the bigger booths are still there, and some of the ones from Saturday. But it's definitely a lot quieter.
So relaxed.
And there's other ones, so there's a few more of the indie kind of publishers on the Sunday, but way more relaxed. Yeah.
Anyway, why are we here? We're here to talk about our haul. We did pick up a lot of games, as you can see here on the table. We're in our hotel room in Tokyo, so apologies that this is a weird studio as usual. But we're just going to run through quickly what we picked up, because a lot of people watched our most anticipated video where we had 20 or kind of more than 20 games.
Yeah, you always sneak in a few in there, go 5 in 1.
Yes, but there were so many that we were excited about that we couldn't feature, and so a lot of those are here as well. So we'll talk through them as much as I can remember, because at this point I am just, as soon as the convention finishes, the information about the games just leaves my head.
Yeah, it's like the RAM in my mind is so relieved that it's like, okay, done. Let's.
I'll talk about this one first. It's the little Thai designed game, Name It. So this is the dog game where you're trying to, give them all names, and then you're trying to remember the names and remember the owners'
the breed
names.
And then their name. So it's like the breed.
That's
whoever
right, the
calls
breed
the breed
first.
first will then get to name them, and then the second round is you have to remember their name, and then the next round, it depends on whether they have a lead or not. It's the human of the dog.
I was worried about getting this one, but there were 2 different stalls that were selling this. So
it was in a couple of places, which is good. I'll actually jump to this one, because we actually did get a chance to play it. So we covered this Masquerade Trick Party, which is beautiful Saibeppo art. It's a re-release with beefed up kind of rules, more characters, and it was interesting because it's kind of like there's that element of the deduction with trick taking. We've only so far we've kind of got it played once
and only on the basic mode as well.
In the basic mode.
Yeah, so there are some more advanced characters, but essentially you're trying to achieve an objective, and then because you're trying to achieve an objective, it's going to give away. So maybe you want to get the most tricks, and if you want to get the most tricks, well then other people might guess your character because they know what your objective might be. So you're trying to find someone and you're trying to do your objective. Which is kind of interesting.
It is interesting. I'd be curious to play with the new added characters as well to see how that goes. But so beautiful. The table presence of just
so
the characters and the it's
really
the
only thing I'll say is that if you get a bad hand and you're not able to play out your character's objective, then it does make it really hard for people to guess. So I'm interested to play it more to see how it goes. At the same booth, we picked up Kokuto Rum, which is a brand new little title. I love these little boxes.
These little tuck boxes.
Yeah, because it makes it so hard to resist them. But this game is a 2-player rummy style game. So, it's so cute. It's got 2 cats. So hopefully you can see this on camera. But anyway, that was from the same.
Yeah, sometimes you can't. So hopefully, because again, we're filming with this little tiny camera that we were able to bring. Very quickly, because we talked about this one already, the women that Zeus loved, that trick-taking game. Zeus, the Greek god of gods.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a Shibu game.
Yeah, we'll check it out. Haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Yes, this is 10 balance here. I was just quickly reading the katakana because I couldn't remember.
Hold it here because I think it's going to get big glaring.
So this is 10 balance, and this is a game where you're trying to, I believe there's like numbers in the center and you're trying to not go over 10. So you're constantly trying to like hand management, trick taking, keen to give that a go. There's so many here.
Yeah.
The Four Juices is the new Gianil game. So this is a 2-player game, as is his custom, always you 1v1. So this one is a gangster theme. This one will probably come traveling with us for the rest of our trip because it's always nice to have like a two-player games that we can play in the airport. So we'll probably give that a go.
Mofu Chip, we did get a chance to play again, just like one very brief game at the local kind of food court, which is that's probably one of my favorite things of all these kind of conventions. It's like when you then like try and figure out where we're going to play some of these games. And yeah, the main draw for this was like the cards are so beautiful, but it's got this really interesting thing with these like +2 chips that you get to play. And so as you're losing,
or changing the color,
as you're losing, you kind of get this +2 chip. That means that you can add 2 to your value, but also you can play the other side of that to then change to the trump or to the lead suit. So it was interesting, but yeah, beautiful art with Mofu Chip.
And I had the chance to play Ninja Scroll Trick just last night. Someone else's copy. You can see this copy is still in shrink. But this was a super interesting game. It was on our most anticipated, so I'm sure a lot of people picked it up if you went. But this game has basically you are choosing 3 cards out of your hand to play down onto the table, and that's going to be public information and part of your hand. But then you're putting these secret scrolls on top that have positive or negative values, and the person who wins the trick with those in them gets those points. So it is actually kind of chaotic, especially in the later rounds where you have like +10 points or like these massive swings in points. So it's chaos, but it's also kind of funny because someone will win a trick and then all of a sudden you reveal the scrolls and they're like, I can't believe you did that to me. So it's kind of funny.
That's fun.
Ninja Scroll Trick.
We also got In Order to Chance, which we're very excited to check out because again, like his designs are always
designer of Nokusu Dice.
Yeah, so incredible and so brainy. And so this is going to be a really...
It's an auction game.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting one to get to check out. We covered it in the most anticipated. So.
Here's a game that wasn't our most anticipated because it's a reprint. This is called Banana Governance. So this was one of the hits of a previous con that we didn't pick up, and then they announced that they were going to print this and have this was the last time they were going to be selling it, unless of course it gets picked up. But so I had to get a copy, even though it has I Split You Choose in it, which is not our favorite mechanic.
You never connect with it.
I never do.
Like, I kind of connect. Okay, I'm like, oh yeah. Every time I play an I Card You Choose, it's like, eh. But you're always like, nah.
I don't know what it is about it. But I'm still. Anytime I don't like something, I'm always like trying to find the version of it I do like. So I'm going to keep playing them.
It's just like me saying, it's like, I don't like auction games. And then there was like this one, I think that for this year, like so many of my most anticipated, like, and this is auction. I was like, maybe I do like auction games.
You love auction games. Anyway, so this is Banana Governance. So excited to play it. Essentially, it's a 2-round game. And there's like, I Split You Choose, and then you're trying. And then there's some crazy multiplier at the end for the scoring. But yeah, keen to check that out. And from the same booth was Hotori Trick, which is the designer's new game. So just a trick-taking game here. So I'm excited about this one, except for it only plays 5 players. So you need exactly 5 players to play this game.
Such an inconvenient player count.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm looking forward to playing it and realizing why it can only be played with this specific count.
Now I'm actually wondering if that's probably, you know how it's like, oh, well, this game plays 1 through to 6, but it's best of 3. It's like, what's better? It's like giving you so many options and it being like a not great experience at most player counts, but 1, or just going, you know what? Just play it at this 1 player count.
5 is a real commitment.
It's tricky.
That's tricky.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I'll very quickly go. I said this was also covered. Haratama.
Another Shibu game?
Another Shibu game. So I love the artwork, so I'm really keen to
Wait, there's
play
one more Shibu game. I'm going to find it. Hold on.
Don't let the pile collapse.
Oh, no. This is a mistake.
This is a mistake. Overcommitted.
It's Thank You Santa, one of his older titles. So this one, I think that you're trying to do, you're like hanging stockings, so it's very Christmas themed. But I always like a holiday theme that we can pull out at Christmas time.
I'm now getting distracted by the art. I hadn't seen the artwork because I didn't see much of the art, or when we're looking through, when we're doing our most anticipated, I'm like, the cards actually look really cool.
Yeah,
so
really beautiful.
Check it out.
Love Shibu Games. We picked up Trifle. So this was, at the con actually, Endgames was the most popular because they had the title Can't Win. Where is that? That is somewhere here. But they actually had a ticketing system. So everyone really went there first. I sent Maggie there first to go get a ticket.
And then I lined up in the wrong line. So then I was like looking around, and like they were kind of saying things in Japanese, and I'm like, I'm not following. And then I looked around, and it's like the person in front of me and the person behind both had tickets. I'm like, I'm in the wrong line. I need to go get a ticket.
Anyway, so you get a ticket and then come back at a certain time, which is for crowd control. And actually, I really like that because then okay, I can just put that out of my mind. I don't have to stand here lining up for 2 hours at the very start of the con.
And if you're me, I usually put a timer, and so that I remind myself. If you're Amy, you're like, oh, what's the time?
Yeah, I wanted to go back and get a copy of another game for a friend, and so I had to race through the con because I almost missed my ticket time. But anyway, so that was Can't Win. But at Endgames, they were also selling this new game Trifle, which is Saibepu art. It's
so cute.
Sean Ross is the designer who designed Haggis and lots of other games. But this is based on an Italian trick-taking game, Briscola. So really intrigued to check that out. And the artwork is just so cute. It's meant to be very light, but anyway, that's really cute.
The artwork is so cute.
Speaking of cute art, more Saibepu, Walking in Kamugawa. We haven't played that many of the Walking in series.
We played Walking in Provence, which we covered. It's in one of the 10 out of 10 out of 10 series.
Yeah.
But they're all quite different, in terms of the type of mechanics that they use.
I think we've only played 2 of them, but this one, who could resist this art? It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's quite different art style to the other ones.
Yeah, and it's more like tile, like this sort of weirdly shaped tiled laying and sort of matching. Or at least that, and so
very cute.
Yeah. Very intrigued. What else?
What else we
did also cover a Tricky Landing as part of our most anticipated.
Yeah.
And again, really cute art.
By his daughter. By the designer's daughter.
Because it's just the kind of kid drawing style. So
And while we're at that booth, we got the opportunity to meet Mr. Ben, who owns Travel Games UK, who imports a lot of Japanese games, and he had his own game, After You Beto Beto-san, which I know sold really well. We already had a copy of the game, but he did bring along this game to give us, The Adventures of Knit Knit, the cooperative climbing compendium, which is actually designed by Taylor from Taylor's Trick-Taking Table, and Mr. Ben did the illustrations for it.
What a combo.
I believe this game might be going somewhere to new places, new heights. So I'm really excited to check that out.
Very good. Let me see what I can find around. Kindora. This sold out, actually. So this is by the designer of 535. I'm keen to play it because he has got this sort of different allocated, what are they called, the vaults of the things that you have to kind of meet. So keen to check that one out.
Trickety. So this is a little trick-taking game about bird watching. So it's got all these beautiful birds. This is interesting. This was for sale at the Washington State booth, which is really fascinating because you can tell the backstory of this.
So apparently, I think, is it the Washington State, some Chamber of Commerce, or I'm getting that wrong. But I think my understanding is the either the treasurer or one of the kind of lead politicians in this, or public servants in this area is super into games. And so this whole kind of chamber or initiative has been created to promote gaming, and apparently there's quite a huge gaming industry as well. So one of the people that I was talking to was saying that it was even higher. There's more workers for Nintendo in Washington State that there are apparently even in Japan. So it's even for video games. So it's it's quite a big population. And so they had this whole initiative where they fly all these different a lot of the local designers as well. So they were there showcasing their games, and obviously it's this sort of kind of exchange thing. So it's so cool.
So cool. Yeah, really cool to chat to them, and of course had to pick up the trick-taking title, and also the artwork of this looks really beautiful. So that's Trickady.
What else?
There's so many.
Fagioli. So this also sold out. So we covered it as part of the most anticipated, which is the bean.
Yes.
Bean game.
Yep. So that's where you're trying to not run out of cards in your hand, and you're trying not to have too many. So it's a hand management style game where you need to play cards each turn.
Yeah.
There's a booth that was bringing back older titles. And this one was one that I was really excited about because if I can find it, is Haifu in here somewhere?
It should be.
Where are you?
Where are you? Hifu.
Hifu.
Where is it? might have to
I'm
find
not sure, but I found this one. So they had, see this indie legacy title. So this is Cursed Tricks, which is an older title that they reprinted and brought back. Hifu, which is a trick-taking game that, again, an older title that they brought back. And then also I picked up this one, which is Slaughter the Dragon. And this game is actually a game that's more like Hearts style. And so another trick-taking game. So yeah, picked up these three classics just to give them a go. Actually, we played Hifu before.
Yeah.
And we really liked it, but then we could never get it. So excited. Apparently also, someone dropped in the comments, thank you for letting us know, that Yellow is also bringing out a version of this game that plays a higher player count. So interested to check that out, but they did change the artwork, and I quite like the Japanese style artwork. And I said to Maggie, which one should we get? One plays more, a wider range of players, and one has the artwork. Maggie's like, let's just get both.
Yeah, get both.
So, I mean,
and then depending on the occasion, you pull out the one that you need.
She'll change her mind when we get back to our apartment and there's nowhere to
what
put
have I done?
anything.
Yeah, God. Oh, this one, the stories, many stories mansion, which is the one that we said that they always come in like really kind of unique. What do you call it? Containers. So this comes in a jar. So, and the artwork is super cute as well. So yeah, this will be a really fun one.
Yeah. So this one has the like cards that kind of fall down into your player area, Tetris style, when you're trying to make patterns. Great Korean designer. Here's your solo game, Dyson Crusoe.
Dyson Crusoe, which I love. Obviously, I love solo, but I also love survival type games. And
so this was a reprint of an older title as well. So it hasn't been available. Maggie was able to pick it up and get the expansion
as well. So keen to check it out. It plays 30 to 60 minutes. So that's a good amount of like kind of crunchy solo time. But yeah, usually they tend to be really tricky, like hard level.
This is a little
you're
game.
so excited about that one.
I'm so excited about this one. Yeah, look, I didn't know whether to put it on my list or not because it kind of fell lower to the ranking because it's so simple, but I just love the artwork so much. It's called, I think, Melon and Prosciutto. Melon and Prosciutto? Did I make that up?
No, but like, it's like ham and... Melon and ham?
Ham. Melon and ham.
Hamu, yeah.
Anyway, it's a I think it's just like a really light hand management games where you're trying to work your way up a hierarchy of cards to ultimately get the preferred pairings of like melon and prosciutto.
Yeah, it's like melon and ham, or ham and cheese, I think it was. It's like those other combos that are the most delicious.
But these cards are so cute. It is by the publisher and designer of Nana.
Ah, yes, that's right.
Always checking those
also, we picked up, so that's a Mob Plus.
Yes, and this one.
I can't remember what's the name of the in English of this one. It's like a dungeon crawler. It doesn't have the name in English, and it's got kanji, so I can't even try and figure it out. But this is like a dungeon crawler where it's all like pixel art as well. And this was one that, like, as you're walking around, go, what have you really enjoyed? What's been the pick? And a couple of people brought this up as something that they had played and really enjoyed.
Demo tables.
Because they had some demo tables, and that was really fun. So I was like, oh, okay, So I'm really curious. I don't think you'll be able to see the art, but I love pixel art.
It's push your luck, and Maggie loves push your luck as well. So this is one of my, as I think the Portland trick taking Discord group would say, a vibe buy. So, we try not to have too many vibe buys because we like to research the games as much as possible, but it's always fun to just grab something that you see, right? Yeah. And so this one, I had heard of it, and then I kind of discounted it, and then I saw the cards in real life, and I was like, I have to get that game.
Very cute.
It's called the Screaming Prime Marmot. So it's got this screaming marmot on the front.
Like that.
And the cards are just so cute. I believe this game is played over 2 rounds, and it's kind of like a it's trick taking, but you are constructing your hand for the second round based on the cards that you win in the first round. So we've seen a couple of versions of that before, but the artwork so cute. So I'm excited to try that.
Very cool. Let's talk about this Genjin dice, which we mentioned. So as part of the Iten booth, this was one of the things that you could get if you bought 3 of the different cube series. The key thing with this one though, that's so quirky, is like it's clay dice, and like got to kind of see the dice, and you can kind of load the die that you're making to roll it and try and get a particular number. So there's like even little stones, so you could kind of put more weight on, you know, one side or the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, quirky little thing. So
I'm excited to play that, but I hear that it is almost like a one and done, or a couple of times if you really look after the clay, because the clay gets really hard, and that's why they decided not to actually sell it as a release, which is fair enough. Yeah. This game is Bomb the Dragon. This is an older title again, but I knew it was going to be at the con, so I wanted to pick it up. It is a 6 Nimet style game where it is based on, I think it's a festival in Taiwan where they have the dragon, and so there's all these segments of the dragon, and you try not to go over the threshold, or you're trying to hit the threshold, but it's got that simultaneous reveal of cards, and then everyone placing their cards out to try and collect points. So that's always fun in a big group. However, it only plays up to 6, but you know, 6 Nimet gets a little bit crazy at those high player counts anyway. Gets a little bit random.
Wild.
Yeah.
Blanket, again, we covered this one. So this is the one where you're essentially trying to, it's like a race to try and make a particular pattern. And so, yeah, that's just a fun one.
I found Can't Win. This is Can't Win. This was the hottest title of the con, without a doubt. It's sold out on Saturday. Lots of people will be trying to get this from all over because it is the combination of Taiki Shinzawa, a really famous trick-taking designer, and Sai Beppu art. And because it's in this more like accessible package, I would say, it's like a simpler trick-taking game. Maggie was playing it last night and I was watching it, but essentially you have a range of conditions and you have to take one of those on. So we're going to draft those at the beginning, and then they're going to basically be can't win conditions. So essentially you might take one that forbids you winning with a particular coloured suit. And so you have that in front of you. Every time you play that suit, you're just guaranteed not to win the trick unless everybody plays a card that's one of their can't win cards, in which case it becomes viable again. So it's like a really interesting dynamic, but the conditions are really super simple. So we've played games where the conditions are quite hard. Looking at you, Trick Taker's Guide to the Galaxy. Oh my goodness. So hard.
Yeah, the different goals that you were trying to achieve. And then so punishing if you didn't.
So punishing.
And such a little reward if you did. It was like, this is so hard.
So this one is much simpler. There's only 3 conditions that are suits that you can't win with, and then there's one that's like even numbers and one that's odd numbers. So really straightforward to teach, and then you're also betting on how many tricks you're going to win.
But interestingly, it's like the scoring of it is what kind of makes it like, because it's like you actually still want to win a lot of tricks, but at the end of it, over 4 rounds, you only get like this sort of the multiplier for the tricks if you manage to hit your bid. So if you never hit your bid, and then you're multiplying by 0.
Because it's like, if you hit your bid times the number of tricks that you've collected.
If you hit correct. And this how many rounds you hit your bid. So it's an interesting, because like, so we had, the score was like someone had 100 and then someone had like 10. And it was like one person had more than everyone else gonna collect, because
it's probably a little bit simpler for my taste, even though I wasn't playing, I was just watching. But it seems a little simple, but I think it's good to have accessible titles like this that have like a little bit of a twist that, you know, can level up your friends. And easy to get to the table at a con and things like that.
And to be fair, like a lot of times when you're playing these like multi-round trick takers, you play one round and you're like, okay, I kind of feel like I got a sense of the game. In this one, it was very easy to stay connected for like the 4 rounds, because you're really invested in how many times am I going to hit the bid, which is going to become the multiplier. So that was interesting for that.
Dungeon Team was another one that wasn't on our list, but was on my reserved list. This one is a cooperative trick taker, which we kind of have a bit of a love-hate relationship with, because we love trick-taking games, but we hate
not big
cooperating.
Co-op people.
But what I really liked about this one was you are working together to get through, you're building a dungeon. So it's like a tile layer combined with trick-taking, and then you're making your way through the dungeon together. So I don't know, intrigued. That's Dungeon Team. What else have we got here?
What else? Well, we got Mate. I can talk about Mate. So super cute, as we knew. Leo design. And we did get to play it. So essentially, it's that whole thing of like, you're going to have rounds where you do want to win it, and then you have rounds where you don't want to win it. But when you do, if you win in a round where you're meant to stay, because it's all about like teaching your puppy to like stay and go, It's only like -2 points for winning that trick, but if you do on a round that you do want to win it, it's actually the value of the card. So the values can kind of be really wild. And there's like a first and second second winner, like second place, I should say, if you have like some matching, which is also interesting because then that second place is sort of drawing from this other surprise list of points kind of thing. And it could be great, or it could be even better than the first place.
I think the most interesting thing about this game is a simple choice that the designer made, which was that the matching number would become trump. And because of that, there's a high, like you really want a card count, because you're trying to establish like which cards you have in your hand, what's likely going to come out in the deck, because we put some cards aside, but they're face up, so you know that they're not in the deck. So I think this is a game that's going to like become more and more satisfying the more you play it. But it's not that hard to learn. So I think that's kind of an interesting combo. So I'm intrigued to play it more.
So it was Mate.
This is a game new old, and you can see, hopefully you can see the box art, but the cards are so cool because some of them look brand new and some of them look really aged, and they've got scribble marks or cup marks on them and things. And the box itself looks like the new box as well as the old version of the box, which is just, I think that's the packaging alone. I actually don't know that much about how it plays, but it has English rules, so I'm excited about that. I need to read it. And then the designer also, last minute, announced this Tereto game, which is a trick-taking game where I believe it's cooperative and you have all of the results in front of you and you need to play it out as per the results that are given to you at the beginning. I think it's a highly experimental game. I mean, this was only 500 yen, and I thought, well, I'll pick it up because I'm intrigued to see how that goes. But apparently very, very difficult from those who have played it, almost impossible. So we'll see.
I'll grab this one. So this one was a bit of a last minute one. It's adorable. It's called Night Parade.
These are both review copies. So these were from
Night Parade, and this is Ouchu. And so this one in particular was one of the ones, so Arclight, who holds the convention, obviously they're big publisher and localizer, they have this thing of celebrating some of the best designs as well, and some of them then become Arclight titles, and some of them obviously go on to be picked up sometimes by other publishers. But this was one of those very highly celebrated games, and it has adorable art. I don't actually know what the mechanic of it is.
I think it's Push Your Luck. Yeah.
Oh,
you love Push Your
Luck. I love Push Your Luck. I don't know why.
I believe it is, yeah. You really do push your luck. Even though you're so risk adverse.
Yeah.
So she won't push her luck in the games generally.
IRL. Yeah.
No, even in the game you're pretty conservative, but you really like, but that's probably why you usually win, because everyone else is like, I'm going to push my luck, everyone goes bust. And
intriguing.
You're like, safe.
Well, stay tuned. We'll find out what,
and this one's called This Is Ouchu, which is a bit more of a party style game. So in this game, there's going to be 2 questions. So it'll be like, what kind of animal would you compare yourself to, and then list the animals that you like. And so there's going to be a whole heap of answers in there that's going to be all different animals, and what you're trying to find is like, what kind of animal would you compare yourself to. So the questions are really similar, but there's one answer that is best applied to the question, to the more specific question. So you're putting in all the animals you like, but then there's one that is the one that you want to be compared to. And so the rest of the players are trying to figure out what is the one in there to out you, out you.
Very cute. Okay. What else? I actually got to play this. So this is Haunted Suites, which is all like, I love that theme of you have a patisserie but it's haunted, and so you decide to just send the ghost over to your rival kind of pastry shops. And so the whole thing with this is it has this die that you make with cardboard that is this sort of really quirky thing that then when you roll it, it sort of shows 3 different walls that are available, and out of those 3 different walls of options, as the person rolling, you get to pick 2, and then you give the other one to the other person. But it was really interesting as you were playing it. It was a lot simpler as a gameplay, but there was still like, when we started playing, I was like, oh, this feels like it might take quite a long time. But because there's so many different conditions that could trigger end game, it's like, oh, actually it can be quite strategic. So yeah, I'm intrigued to play more of it. It's super cute in terms of like the gameplay, and I was playing even with like non-heavy gamers. And even though it took them a little while to kind of figure out, okay, well, how does this, like, how would I strategically do this? The artwork and the cute theme really carried a lot of that. And they all kind of enjoyed it towards the end. So it's like, okay, this is nice. I definitely have to play it more to
I
see
wanna
like
play it.
for a gamer,
I
like
haven't
at a
played it
gamer
yet.
level, how engaging or how strategic you can get with it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This one is Yokai 1504. This is a 2-player TCG style game where you both have symmetric decks, and there is English on the cards, which is great. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
But this game, plays in 10 minutes. It says on the back. This game sold out. And it just looks so beautiful, but I was so surprised at how small the box is.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It's tiny. When it's set up, it's quite sprawling because it's like all these cards and everything. But yeah, really cute. So I'm going to take this traveling, I think, because we are, onwards to Europe after this, and so just being able to pull out a game and when we're waiting for flights and things.
Yeah.
So that's Yokai 1504.
What else do we have here? We have Don Quixote as well. So this is Boast or Nothing.
Yeah, Boast or
remake?
Nothing.
Yeah,
From Mandu Games.
Mandu Games. And so I love this artwork. The Boast or Nothing artwork was like
It's
kind
so
of
good.
fun and wild, but I also really like this. Like, it's a different style, but I really like it. So I'm actually quite, and the cards themselves also look really cool. So I'm really, and obviously, and we know it's a good game because we've played it and we enjoy it. So
this
I'm
is
excited to
It's
play
the
that.
Hifu problem. Maggie's like, well, I'll have both because the art's different. It's
Well,
like,
and this is interestingly, like Boast or Nothing is like a tiny
Yeah.
box, and this is like a much more chunky kind of
and it's
production,
coming
so-
out as well as Best of Neapolitan, so
Yeah.
you'll have many opportunities
Yes.
to play Bon. So this is Tandem Trick. This is by the designer of Ouroboros Trick, which was one of the bigger titles of the last convention. And this one is where you can kind of piggyback or join forces with the player on your right in order to win tricks, and then you divide the reward. So I'm intrigued to play that one. That one was quite popular. You know what else was popular?
Oh, yeah.
Trick Slayers. So this is a cooperative dungeon crawling it's semi-cooperative because you need to defeat the creatures or the baddies in this game, but then if you played the highest card into the trick, you get to take the greatest reward. So at the end of the day, it is competitive, but you're working together to fight these monsters, essentially. And this game was one I was umming and ahhing about, and then they closed reservations, like, I'm sure a lot of people felt this, because they closed reservations like a week after putting it up and way before the convention. I waited too long. The reservations closed, so I had to go there early and pick this one up, and I'm glad I did. And they included English rules somewhere
It's
as
inside.
well. So
It's inside.
it's inside.
Yeah, put them inside already.
Maggie's very organized. She's put it in.
I try. Well, this one's also very cute. So this is called Shake It Meerkat, and it's all about, it's like the height. Like you're trying to figure out the height.
It's a shedding game, but you are trying to shed out cards in order of the height of the meerkat.
Yeah, and then they also gave you this
Upside
custom.
down. Oh no, it's not.
Yeah, it's like stickers to
The
customize.
meerkats are upside down.
Oh yeah, the meerkats are upside down. But yeah, it's like stickers to customize the box, so you can actually create your own version of this the meerkat with accessories, which is super cute.
What else have we got here? Chimera
Trick?
Tricks, which is a really interesting design. This was another one that I hadn't reserved. And then and I was thinking about it because it's a game as well where I think there's cards in your tableau that end up merging with your other cards. Like your cards can change and build in value. But I hadn't reserved it. And then when I got to the con, the FOMO took over because originally I was trying to be really purposeful, conservative,
restrained,
if you will. I don't
Failed.
think that worked. I don't think that worked out, but I was honestly trying to, work a little bit harder.
I did really well with my
did.
resistant
vibe
buys. Yeah, and it was hard because there's so many. I just had to do this like no. There's a combination of things that are just super cute, like the art. It's because it's like walking through the equivalent of like an artist market, where everything is just so like indie and some of the things are quick, but then at the same time, like they're sitting there, like just looking so like, hi, and it's like I just can't resist it. So I just have to like look at it and go, it's really beautiful, and keep going. Otherwise, it's just like I can't.
Yeah. You gotta. We ran out of money, so
yeah.
This is another one that I actually had reserved, but really last minute. And I can't remember why. So I know that the artwork is really cute. So it's about necromancers kind of, I think it's like the job of the necromancer or something.
Okay.
And the artwork is just absolutely
Very
adorable.
cute, yeah.
But there were 2 different games that you could play with the same deck of cards.
Ah.
One of them much simpler, and then one of them like was and when I read the simpler one, I was like, oh, no, probably not for us. And then I read the more complex one. I was like, I'm really into that. And now I cannot remember for the life of me how it plays. But it is so adorable. Look at it.
That's very cute.
I know,
yeah.
it's so
I love
cute.
the artwork of
Yeah,
that one.
it's so cute.
What else? Flamenco. So this one, yeah, super cute art as well. It's meant to be, we didn't actually get a chance to play it. Or haven't had a chance to play it yet.
No.
Saibepu art.
Shedding game.
And it's got these cute little like flamenco shoes tokens in it, which is like, oh, this is adorable. But yeah, the card illustrations are so beautiful.
That was another one where we were like, maybe too simple for us, maybe I'll hold out, and then still bought it. Oshaka Trick, which is another big title of the con. This one is by the designers of Identity.
Love that game, yeah.
You know, we had Identity in our top small box games of last year, and the designer was so sweet. They were like, oh, because, you know, there's so much anticipation because of Identity being so well received, and I put extra effort into Oshaka Trick and into the design process
triple the
of
play
it.
test number. Like make
play
sure
tested it more and more and more. So I'm excited to play Oshaka Trick. It's kind of got that interesting like combo of trick taking tableau, like engine building kind of, not engine building, like push your luck with your scoring, which is kind of interesting. So really excited to give that a go. I'll talk about Bus and Stop because a lot of people would have played this game and I was sure we hadn't played it. And so I bought it and then we played it and now I'm pretty sure we have played it.
Yeah, we didn't own it, but I think we had played it at some point. Yeah,
I do like it though.
Yeah, it's
pretty quick and easy because you've just got a bus that you can only fit 10 people into and you're drafting passengers in and then trying to drop them off for points, but you're also trying to like wait it out until you've collected more, but then other people might take the limited number of cards for that passenger
the scoring cards,
so super simple. I think this came out last year, maybe, but we picked up the newer title from Sashi and Sashi because, you know, Sashi and Sashi games are a little bit hit and miss for us, but we're always going to try them out.
Yeah.
So this is Railway Porters.
Yeah.
I don't know much about this game,
It's
actually.
like, I think it's from what I could see in the demo tables, it's a bit of like dice rolling
Dice
and
placement,
then dice placement, allocation.
Yep.
So I'm intrigued because, they often have, like even when a game, when a Sachi game doesn't quite hit for us, I can always kind of go, oh, okay, like that's interesting. Like that's where the tension or the combo of things that they were going for is.
They always do a good job. Sorry about that reception call. So that is what happens when we're recording from a hotel room in Tokyo. But we just wanted to share what we've got before we pack it all up. There's two games from this. Here we go. Two games from this group which did, come on, what was the T game?
Oh, Storm in a Teacup.
Storm in a Teacup.
You can't find it anywhere. It was also one of the ARC featured, amazing games, celebrated. Yeah, and it is excellent.
They may have had a few copies, but I chose to go there second because I wanted to try and pick up another copy for a friend. But yeah, it said it was sold out immediately, I think that game will probably get picked up if it hasn't been already. So it'll probably be more widely available. But they did have two new games. One was Snowball, which is the rondelle style game where you're kind of all racing to get to an 8 size snowman. It's also got a bit of like worker placement with your little snowman that's moving around your rondelle. And then this one, which is Kotori Pachi, which is a cooperative trick-taking game where you've got all these birds on a branch that represent the players around the table, but then also these pesky pigeons, and you're trying to push the pesky pigeon off the branch while making sure you don't push your friends off the branch. So it sounds fun. Sounds super cute and fun.
What else do we have around here? Well, we have this Plotters Inc. So there are a couple of plate titles that are sort of the new titles.
Yeah.
So there's Can't Stop, which is just a reprint of obviously Can't Stop, but this is a Japanese edition.
Yeah, it's a Mount Fuji edition.
Yeah, and it's really cute.
And it's pink as well. It's so lovely. So we actually don't own Can't Stop, so I'm excited to play this version. We've played it before.
Yes.
But this one is really, really beautiful.
Plotters Inc. looks interesting because it's one of those games where you're trying to essentially you're trying to kind of collect particular suits, different suits, but you want, it's like the two, what is it? It's like, what is it now? It's like, it's that whole thing of like 2 suits will then multiply times the divide. Okay, yeah. So it's like there's out of the 4 suits, you'll have 2 suits that you'd want to collect, and then that will their total will be divided by the third or the excess kind of card. So you don't want to collect, essentially, ideally want to collect just 2 suits.
It sounds really mean.
They multiply by each other and then divide by the excess ones. So yeah, it's that whole kind of suit collection thing.
Yeah,
but then there's also...
But it sounds really mean because people were going to try and give you the third suit,
Yeah, because there's also this thing of like, there's essentially 2 winners of every trick. So one person will get to choose most of the cards of the trick, and then the second winner will get the rest, so you can kind of really strategically
the second winner, which is the loser, essentially the lowest card played.
But then they're also going to lead the next trick, so there's a bit of a nice, interesting balance. And I haven't had a chance to play it, but I'm intrigued to see how it kind of feels. There are also other titles from Plate that we actually got before the con, so we don't have them here. But the Finger Pirates.
Finger Pirates has been a hit at our table.
Yeah.
It's super fun, super easy to teach. And basically, you are using your fingers. You can bid 1 to 5 to have turn order to get these boats full of goodies. And sometimes those goodies are goodies, and sometimes they're ghosts. And ghosts are bad. And the person who has the most ghosts at the end of the game is immediately eliminated. So you don't want that. So you're trying to bid carefully. But the most interesting thing, I think, is every round there is a max bid that everybody around the table can bid. And so let's say the max bid is 15 and everyone around the table bids 16, well, then the person who bid the most chooses last and essentially misses out, and then we go in descending order from there. So it's like trying to not be too greedy, but also be greedy so you get first pick.
But at the same time, strategically, sometimes you might not want to win because the options that are there are not really going to be good for what you're trying to achieve, and so that's why you're not allowed to bid 0. Like, you always have to bid something, and sometimes you might not want to win, so you're like, oh, 1, and then like someone else goes bust, and you're like, you end up having to take. So it's interesting as a balance of something really simple.
And there was also another game that I wanted to mention, which is Nebula Colors as well. So that's a really popular Plate title at the moment, a brand new one. And it's super interesting. It's a rummy style game for 2 players where you are going to be drawing 2 cards from the top of the deck, deciding if you want to place one down into one of the 2 discard piles, or instead of drawing cards, you take all the cards from one discard pile and then you have to make melds. And the cards that you can't use in melds from the discard pile become negative points. Yeah. So it's kind of got that tension of like, you're trying to muddy up the discard piles so that there are things that you think your opponent
but then you might
can't
end up
use.
having to take it or be the and so you just instant karma.
It's intriguing. Maggie beat me every time we played, like every single time.
Yeah,
by a lot.
Well, there's this one suit in it that feels a little bit almost overpowered, but again, we haven't played enough to kind of figure out, like, there's this one particular the star suit that is like, if you get 3 out of the 4, it's like, it's just, there's so many points in it because they all have this sort of threshold that you have to meet, and so
but then I was like, maybe it's overpowered, and then I kept playing and I sometimes got it and I still lost. So then I was like, well, maybe it's not, maybe it's just I'm terrible. Anyway, so CMYK Tricks was another popular title. This one as you can see, comes in a tube, and it has some kind of Venn diagram thing going on about what color I think is the ranking, what suits are in the ranking. I'm not sure, but I'm intrigued to try this out. We had their previous title, which now I'm just Fractal Tricks. Which I've set up many times, and I think we've only played once, but then I keep like going back and relearning it, and then but we haven't played it that much. But I'm interested to see this one, and of course coming in a tube, very novel, very hard to put on a shelf. But
it has to have its own shelf, its own area.
Can I talk about this one?
Yeah.
Because this is Niku Karuta, and actually this game is
super ultra meat game. Says at the top.
A super ultra meat game. That's not the direct translation.
Okay.
But this game is really widely available. They've sold hundreds of thousands of copies, I think, in retail stores. It's very, very popular. But the designer was there, and they were selling the newer versions of the game, and essentially this game is just photos of meat. So the designer actually, I think, took them at a restaurant, just photos of meat, and all you're trying to do is you play like a memory style game at the beginning, and then so it's like a 2-round game. I can't even remember now. But yeah, essentially you're doing a memory style game to get familiar with them, and then it's like a race style game to match the matching card in the second half of the game. But it's like, but all the meat looks the same.
Yeah, because it's kind of like these abstract raw meat sort of things. And then I think the new version was cooked meat. So
Yeah.
it's even like it's even harder to tell because it's like all brown instead of it.
Yeah.
It's really quirky.
And the designer just threw in another couple of games, and honestly, I don't know much about them, but yeah, it's the same designer. This one looks very, very Japanese dependent, but we'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I don't know. This one was one that you picked up, but I'll talk very quickly about Hitplan because we did cover this one. So that's the IP, like intellectual property based, almost like educational type game. Plays very, very quickly, and so again, beautiful kind of art.
But a designer of Love Letter.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
and some Saibepu art or work in there as well.
yeah, co-artist.
Yeah.
So yeah, intrigued to actually play.
So
it.
this
Check it
one
out.
that you didn't know,
Yeah.
if you could pass me that one in the clear box over
This
there
one,
as
yes.
well. Yeah, so this is 2 new games by Mashi Kamaru, who obviously everyone like really adores as a designer, and I'm increasingly loving this designer
Very,
as
very
well.
great.
So
Yeah,
this
clever
one
designs.
here is a 3 to 4 player auction game where you're all playing bidding with different currencies, and the value of each currency is unknown at the beginning of the game.
This is the game that hadn't released by the time that we did our most anticipated. Like there wasn't much
Correct.
information about it. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
that is correct.
Yeah.
And this one is, I've forgotten the translation of it.
We'll put
is
it on screen.
Like garbage something trick, like an animal. Mushi. I don't know what a mushi is, but it's a garbage animal trick. And this is another one of his titles. And this one, he was still packing at the con.
Yeah.
So Maggie, I think, took some footage of him sorting the cards
Yeah, they
as
were like-
people were coming, and he actually sent out a message to everybody saying, like, can you actually come and pick up from 1 p.m. because at the beginning of the con he was still desperately trying to make these. That's how close to the wire.
But that's like
it
the
was.
challenge if you're a designer or a publisher. So many times it's like one thing doesn't deliver on time, or sometimes publishers are going, well, we then didn't actually even get the packages of the games that we were meant to have here. So that would be so stressful because then it's
Yeah.
such a missed opportunity. But at least, yeah, they got them, and even though they were like rushing to get them all done, but yeah.
This is another one that I bought on the spot, Kami-sama, and it's like a trick-taking game. And I didn't actually know anything about this one, but then I saw the artwork, and this was so. I guess that counts as a
vibe, yeah.
Because the artwork is just, look at the art. It's
so cute.
adorable.
Yeah,
And
very,
then
very
then I was like, I love the art, and then it was trick taking, so I was like, well, I'm
Sold.
I'm in. Sold.
This
sold.
one was a favorite of our coverage.
yay.
That's the cooperative
Kaban.
mouth, hold your
Kaban.
mouth based on the size of the fruit. So yeah, it's only like the cards are really thick. So but there's only a few of them, so it's like.
And I immediately went and I bought some sleeves, and
Yeah.
I sleeved them because there's only a few cards in here, so keep
protect
them
them.
nice.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a party game, so
Yeah, exactly. We'll get excited and
take it to cons.
Yeah.
This one is Taifu Ika, which is like Typhoon Family. And so this is a cooperative trick taker played over 3 rounds where you're trying to protect your family from the typhoon. So and the artwork, again, adorableness.
Yeah.
It actually, this was a game that didn't have a deck of cards, but then they were selling with it an optional set of cards from Daiso for $1. So
Yeah, for 100 yen. And I was like, how do you get it for 100 yen? Oh, it's a Daiso one, so it's like, yeah.
Oh, my other vibe buy,
Yeah,
I'll tell you
was-
about this one. This is Fishing Together. Now, if you've watched the channel for a while, you'll know that fishing is one of my favorite themes, or anything kind of fish related.
Yeah.
And so I saw this one, Fishing Together, is a cute, like, they say it's trick-taking game, but it's kind of like 2-player trick-taking where you're both just revealing a card at the same time that you've put down in secret. And so you'll have 3 cards placed down in secret, and you're revealing cards to, if you win, you're going to be taking the token where the boat is. So it's got like a grid-like layout where there's points around the board and the boat's going to be moving around. And if you lose, you get to decide where the boat goes next, knowing what your second card is that you've played. And also, I think there's a way to increase the power of your play as well through these fishing rods.
Yeah.
So I just love the theme. And the designer was so nice. And she had great English, actually.
Yeah.
And she was explaining how the game worked to us. So it's kind of a 2-player trick-taking style game, which is super cute.
What else do we have here? We had this Build Park, yeah, which is just like a card little.
Yeah, this is by AI Lab, who obviously did Tournay and the recent Senna that we absolutely loved. So
like very little,
very little, and a very different style of game and much more accessible. But the cards are really cute, and so wanted to check that out as well. I'll talk about this Dungeon and 5 Tribes because interestingly, this game. So it's an older trick-taking game by a European designer that now has been given the Sai Beppu artwork treatment. So absolutely stunning.
So gorgeous.
So cute. Like I just saw this and I was like, I have to get that just for the artwork. And I did not buy this at Tokyo Game Market, even though it was available there. So I could have bought it there, which is a bit annoying because actually I had this sent to the hotel in advance of us coming here because I was just like, I just need to get that. I'm not sure if I'll see it at the con.
Yeah.
But it was there, so maybe some people picked it up.
I think these are all more kind of your thing. So.
First Band is a Taiwanese designer, I believe. And this is in a trick I think it's like you're trying to put in each of the band members.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I cannot remember it, but I think it's cooperative. Oh, I'm not sure. No, it says to win the game. Oh, not sure. Huh. I can't remember much about it now. I have Con Brain.
Rock band themed
Con Brain
game.
This is Taiki Shinzawa's last minute title as well that he wasn't sure he was going to get it to the con and did. It's called Octopus Order. It's a trick taking game, but I think you can play multiple different games with a set of cards. I don't know how much of a fan I am of that in general. Like I prefer to just have
pick one thing and like
pick the best thing, and then we'll
make
play
that the official thing.
Yeah, too many choices, because then it starts to become more just like a deck of cards, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway,
you think versatile would be good, but sometimes like
it's like
tell me.
It's like when games are cooperative or competitive. I'm like, no. Tell me
like,
the best way.
We're not good with games that are like just house rule it, whatever you want. It's like you tell us what the rule is, and then that way we can go. Yeah, we like it or no, we don't like it. We don't like the responsibility of if the game wasn't good, it's your fault. It's like
I know, but it's Taki Shinzawa, so who can argue? You're gonna get it and you're gonna play it, aren't you?
What was this one? Pop art trick.
Yeah,
very tiny. Tuck box.
Another one that I bought for the artwork. They also did Anaphylaxis. That was a game that
quirky one.
Yeah, that was a game that we really liked. And this game is a minimum trick taking game, which there are penalties for acquiring too many cards.
Okay.
So I like games like that because obviously in a trick taking game, and you can see someone's on the borderline of being in trouble, then you want to.
Then there's a lot of sending stuff their way.
Off the cliff. This is Green City, which is a bigger style game where you are kind of network building across different modes of transport that are very eco-friendly. And so this is actually by Fabio Lopiano and another designer, but we love Fabio's work like a lot. And so as soon as I saw this was coming out, I think this is getting a broader release, but we wanted to pick it up as soon as possible. I don't know about route building. It's not really one of my favorite kind of things, but there's also, I believe, a race element to this as well, which I do like. So we'll see how that goes.
This one we covered Patisserie of Fairywood.
It's a smaller box than I thought it would be. I thought it would be wider this way.
Yeah. So we'll
this
see.
is the worker placement game that has a trick-taking kind of mechanic of must follow. So you take an action and then everyone else, if they can follow with their dice that they have, then they have to follow that action, which is interesting. Sumida Gawa Red Town. Sumida River Red Town. So this is the much awaited reprint of Mashi Kamaru's game Sumida River with a new theme, more gangster theme. And finally, I got a chance to play this last night because this has become a grail game for me, and I was so excited
to get up until now.
Yeah,
there were a lot of copies of this.
There were, there were.
Yeah.
This one's still sealed, but we did play a friend's copy. Thank you, Priya, for teaching. And it's an interesting game because there are different areas where you can shed different meld types, and so not everyone's not playing the same meld type like usual, but you are still building in ascending order on the last played lowest value. So if someone plays a pair of ones and then you're doing a run, then it has to start with a 1. Whereas if someone's doing like a single 11 card, then you're pair needs to be greater than 11.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, equal to 11 because 11 is the highest card. So it's really interesting. There's these wild cards as well that add this element of chaos where you could end up swapping hands with people. I don't know how I feel about it yet. But I did enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to playing it more. I just hadn't quite worked out the strategy.
It definitely feels like a much more different way. It's that using a shedding mechanic to create its own sort of strategy game, which I thought was intriguing.
Yeah, and let's talk about Formosa. So this is a review copy of a game by Kirk, who is in a Discord that we're also in, and it's Formosa is obviously Taiwan, if you didn't know, and it features all of the local animals of Taiwan. But interestingly, this is a throw and write game, and so you are essentially throwing a whole heap of
cubes,
colored cubes into the box lid, which has different areas of the map, and then you're going to allocate them, and those can then be applied to every player's map. And the fun part about this game is that it has, that real combo-tastic feature to it. So you're choosing what you want to play, and maybe that completes a row, which gives you another free thing, and so you're trying to fill out your map. And it was really satisfying, actually. And we played with the full 6 player count.
Yes.
And it was pretty snappy.
It worked well. It didn't feel like it dragged at all, because there's this sort of like element of kind of simultaneous action. Taking.
It was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a great con game as well, because it's kind of like it's got that table presence of everyone like throwing and trying to hit what they want.
Because even because there's obviously the key thrower is moving, but sometimes you're really trying for a corner, but the way that things kind of land is like, I actually ended up with nothing in the corner that I wanted, or in the area that I wanted. So it was fun. It was interesting.
This is the little cute abstract game about the birds from Hokkaido. I think they live in Hokkaido, don't these little snowbirds?
I don't know. Yeah, they're so adorable.
Shima Inaga.
Yeah.
Dango, because Dango also includes like the skewers, the Dango skewers.
Yeah.
For when you're collecting points. But this is a 2-player, very abstract game of deciding.
But adorable little.
Where you want to place out these birds.
Yeah.
Super cute. They were so lovely as well. Everyone was so lovely at Tokyo Game Market.
Yeah. And these 2 are yours. I don't know. Like I don't know anything about.
I bought this one for you.
Did you?
I did it for you. This is City of Stairs.
Oh yeah, I did see that one.
Yeah. So this is a beautiful, like, you're building a tableau together, and you're trying to build pathways through the staircases in the town. It doesn't look super crunchy, but it does look super beautiful.
It does look pretty, and you're kind of creating this sort of all these stairs, this sort of scenery, I guess. Yeah, so that's cute.
Yeah, and this was a Sunday buy, which is so the design team at Punpas Games are kind of like, they also work with Oink, or they're ex-Oink, but I think they still design for Oink too, and that's why there was an Oink game that came out this year, which has the binary kind of on and off, which originally was a Pumpas. Anyway, it was originally a Pumpas game. Now it's an Oink game. But they only ever are at the con on Sunday, so it is a good reason to go on Sunday, because I like to pick up their games. The last one, which was about monsters, kind of didn't hit with us. But this one is called Chernozem. And you can see that there's a bunch of vegetables on the front, because what you're trying, it's a deduction game. So you're trying to use the information that people have about their seeds or their vegetables in order to work out something. That was the worst description.
More to come on this.
More to come on this, but it looks beautiful, and like, I think these designers are quite innovative, and so I like to see what they do with designs.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our haul from Tokyo Game Market. So that's going to keep us really busy for the next 6 months before the next game market, where we'll undoubtedly buy even more titles. So did you head to Tokyo Game Market? If you did, what did you buy? What was your number one pick? Or, which of these games are you most excited about trying eventually?
And what would you like us to cover as well? What are you most intrigued that you want us to prioritize this? Please play it and let us know, how you like it. Yeah, because that always then helps us decide okay, how do we go about tackling this?
Yes. And to everyone who came up to say hi at the con, thank you so much. It was so lovely to meet people from all over the world, especially those at Tokyo Game Market for the first time, and to all of the designers and publishers who also said hello to us. Really appreciate that. It's so nice to feel welcomed in a place that's so far from home. So thank you, everyone. If you liked this video, please hit like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll be back with more board game content soon. But sayonara.
Bye.